that I want to talk about them. And we're gonna use one of them to move forward. Here we got two main plugins, our Modular and also which is paneling tools. As you can see, paneling tools is widely used by designers, architects, and building professionals, and it supports intuitive design of paneling concepts as well as help rationalize complex geometry into a format that is suitable for analysis and fabrication. There you can download it by free and install it. Suppose that here we got a simple surface and then I want to draw some rectangles side of each other. After having paneling tools installed, then we'll find it in the tabs. Watch this. And if we want to icons, we can open the Rhino options in toolbars, and then you click on paneling tools, and then we can choose the desired ones like create grid and also panel from grid. I choose these two and I cancel it, or we can use the existing panels or tools in menu bar. Anyway, creating panel grids, and here we can create a network of points or some grids that we can draw the patterns there. And in order to move on this example, I want to use array, then we should specify the base point like this. And then we specify the number in U direction 20, and for spacing least 2, like this way. Afterwards, for U direction, as you can see, or along X direction, we can choose it and then specifying the direction, or we can change it and then in V number 15 and spacing least 5.4 and V direction it is okay, and we can specify Z offset least. We set 0 since we wanted planar and the plane, as you can see, and then we press down enter. Then we have a set of points. By using this command, firstly we are asked to create the patterns on the plane or on the surface. After that, we'll be given some points like this. Then we can add the pattern on these points. Here we got the points, then from paneling tools, then paneling from grid, panel 2D grid, as you can see. That are the default patterns, and panel custom 2D, and panel custom 2D variable, as you can see, like the gradient panel that we worked on. And also we can consider the attract points and attract lines, or point attractors actually. Let me choose panel 2D to choose the default options. We click on the points, press down enter. Then we have to select the surface if there is one. We press down enter since we don't have. Then we can choose the pattern based on the default option like diamond, wave, brick, hexagon, or others. Watch this. After drawing this pattern by default, and then we can use apply curve easily and then apply it on the surface. Watch this. This was one of the options. Then in the next method, we don't need to use apply curve using apply curve, since we can place the grids or the points on the surface directly. Create paneling tools, surface domain number, we click on it, and then we specify the surface. As you can see, they are added by default since everything is defined. You can only specify the number of the points since the direction is pre-specified. After that, from paneling tools, paneling from grid, 2D, custom, or the default ones. Watch this. The hexagon, for instance, and its options are adding edges, for instance. We can set it to yes or no, and also face border, can add it. And face borders are these lines or these curves. And also we can have the faces or not. We can set it to yes or no, as you can see. Push this at face or at face to no. And as you can see, the created surfaces are curved. Watch this. That we can create flat surfaces. Look. Or we can create the meshes. So here we got too many options. And also we can have them straight, look, or pool, ISO, short path, and projected. I will tell you the differences between pool and projected. If I set it to pool, then they will be projected based on the curveness or based on the Z direction or the short path, as you can see. Firstly, we set it to straight to create the patterns straightly on the surface in a simple way. Let's see. So we can create the patterns on the surfaces using paneling tools plugin that you can download it from Rhino for Food. Food for Rhino, I'm sorry. In Food for Rhino, we can search for the plugins that you want to have them installed from for Rhino actually. And the another plugin is Vectorize here that I want to search for it. Let's see. Here we click on the search box, paneling tools, and when you download it, then based on the installed version, watch this, when you click on open, the package manager will be open for you, and then you can click on installed. But if you had problem in opening package manager window, maybe the Rhino software has no access to internet connection, that you have to allow it in the firewall settings, and then you have to delete some files like Windows host and the IPE files that are related to McNeil and Rhino to be able to have the plugins installed. Anyway, we click on paneling tools and then install, like this way. And after that, it will be installed and we need to relaunch or reset Rhino, and then we'll have all of the tools. Let me delete them. Anyway, this was the way we create 2D patterns in Rhino using paneling tools plugin. But suppose that if you had an image in black and white that you wanted to extract the curves from the image in order to use it as a pattern and apply it on the surfaces, note that you should use this plugin, that its icon is like the rooster's head, as I showed you. In the continuation, let us talk about drawing. But before that, wait for a second, please. Since I want to search for a plugin that would extract the curves based on the colors. I will tell you the name and show it to you as soon as it is found. But right now, let us talk about the 3D patterns in Rhino, and then we'll talk about it in Grasshopper. So we can have perfect and interesting forms as fast as possible. Again, at the beginning, firstly, I want to create the primary surface, like this way. Watch this, and then I want to rebuild it, like this way. Specifying the point count and the degree, 4 control points and 4 points. After that, I want to select the control points, like this way, and curve them. Check it out. Then this is the result. So here we got this surface. Then I rotate it like this way. Then I want to start the command to apply the 3D patterns on the surface, which is flow long surface. Again, I want to hide the isocurves. After that, let me move it and place it on the plane. Afterwards, I want to move on step by step with you together and tell you what we are going to do. Anyway, in the first step, I should start the command of create UV curves to create the UV curves and points of the surface, like this way. But the difference between this and the previously we used to draw some patterns on the enclosed region, but if we here create a 3D box, we should specify its position. So here we cannot consider the lines or 2D patterns as the reference. Firstly, we have to select this and then convert it to a planar surface. Like this way, we use planar surface command. Like this way, we create a surface out of it. Like this way. Afterwards, I want to place the pattern on it. We can create whatever we want. But firstly, here I create the pattern in a 2D way at first, like this way. And then I array it, the circles. Afterwards, I trim the redundant lines. Or I can start the command of curve boolean, then extruding it like this way, and then propagating this on the surface. Look, however, if we want to have duplicate a defined or predefined number of this pattern, we can use array, select it, and then 14 and 14 for the numbers in 2 different directions, like this way. After selecting them, I select them all, and then I click on Scale 1D. Firstly, I resize it, and I resize the another segment, like this way. Check it out. After that, Control G to group them, or ungroup them. Well done. Up to now, we create the pattern, we created the isocurves and also the patterns, arrayed them, and we resized it, and then flow long surface. Then we select the patterns, pressing down enter, and then we should specify the target surface, like this way. Watch this. So we should wait for a second for this, since we are dealing with too many solid 3D objects and they are being transferred, and you might be encountered with a crash. So don't forget to save your file before running this command. So this is the result, as you can see, by this way in the rendered viewport. So we can create a modular form, and again we can use scale each. Firstly, I draw a rectangle here, and then I want to propagate it or array it. Then we start array. As you can see, we got the mode that I set it to field 14, 14, and 1. That enables us to specify the first and the last items. So then we increase the number in X direction and also in Y direction, 16 and 16. Then we select the last created objects, holding down Shift and selecting the primary object. After that, scale each, like this way, SC scale and EACH. Then I want to scale them randomly. For instance, we specify maximum and minimum values. Or we can specify the scale factor graphically. Watch the maximum and the minimum sizes for the boxes. And then we select them all. Then we extrude them by this way. After having them extruded, we can use flow along surface and then transfer them on the surface. Here the question is, how do we can specify random heights for the boxes? But we are not available to do this in Rhino using the default commands. I start flow along surface, selecting the surface and the pattern and the target surface like this way. Then this is the result. Alright. So this was the method of transferring the patterns 2D and 3D in Rhino 8. And also I want to exemplify another case using paneling tools. Paneling tools, create paneling grid, surface domain number. Then I define some number for the points, 20 and 20, by this way. Then I make a copy out of the points, simply. And however, we could have used grid utility and offset points. I mean, instead of making a copy. And then in paneling from grids, we can click on panel 3D grid. Then we specify the type of the panel. For instance, this. I choose edges, faces, or only solids. Okay? And you should select the first paneling points grids, pressing down enter, and then I should select the next group, or the copied ones, like this way. Watch the result. Again, let me try another example, 3D grid, parameter 2, and also we want to solid. We select, pressing down enter, and done. Here is the created form. Then let me ungroup them. Then, as you can see, we can select each independently. We delete the points, and I want to delete the surface as well, like this way. And let me try another test round color. Then we assign random colors to the panels. Watch this. Each of them got a unique color, as you can see, by this way.